Hey everybody, so welcome back to Jim Bob's Garden. So today what I wanted to talk about is one of my viewers had asked me what kind of flowers do I interplant in my garden. So flowers are very important for a lot of different reasons. One, flowers have a drawing effect to pollinators. The idea is that if you get flowers in the garden, it'll bring pollinators in. Other flowers are really nice to have because they provide a trap crop or something for bugs to attack other than your edible vegetables. Other flowers are completely edible in and of themselves. So flowers are very important in the garden. I like to try and keep some sort of flowers growing in my garden. And let me walk you around and show you kind of what I've got growing as far as flowers within my garden to help draw the pollinators and to hopefully repel some of the bugs. All right, let's take a look. Alright, so as you walk in here, you can see several different things. One, right down here I've got a bunch of oregano, which has gotten completely out of hand. But you can see that it's starting to flower. And then right next to that I got some marigolds, which are also getting completely out of hand. Marigolds there. And then this is bee balm, which will also flower later on in the season. Alright, within the garden itself, you can see I've got some marigolds there, which is another one getting really large, which I'm probably going to have to cut back here shortly. And then down here some purslane that's actually flowering. Now with the marigolds, one of the things that happened when I built this whole garden was that I had this gap that came up between the raised bed and the pavers. And it's a perfect place to plant marigolds and oregano, like what I've got here. And you can see I've got that all over the place. I've got marigolds down in here, more oregano there, more marigolds. All right, oregano that's gotten completely out of hand. I'm gonna have to cut that back here very shortly. Marigolds along there, marigolds there. This is a starfruit tree, which maybe will flower at some point, but I'm trying to get it to grow tall and provide a little bit of shade here for the bed behind it. It's going to be a while before that happens. Alright, so those are some of the flowers that I like to interplant. Another one is zinnias. Now zinnias are a prolific self-seeder. I just let them die back, and when they die back they drop their seeds everywhere and they come back over and over again. Now that is one of the plants that I allow to grow pretty much wild. You can see I got one there. I've got some more here, and they're really pretty. I mean, they make a really nice flower. And typically, you have them just covered with pollinators, but for some reason this year, that hasn't gone too well. Now, so that's pretty much all of the actual flowers, with the exception of my toothache plant there, which is a very interesting plant. If you've never grown one, I highly recommend it. It's really neat because you can chew the leaves and it'll numb your mouth. And then back there you got nasturtiums, and then here I've got some more marigolds. Now all of those are flowers that are grown just for flowers. Alright, another one that flowers a lot is dill. For some reason, dill just has not taken off. This plant, normally speaking, would be huge. Not really sure what's going on with that. And in fact, this whole bed is doing very poorly. So I'm going to have to get in here and do some more compost or something. Just not really impressed with my square foot garden this year. But at any rate, so now some of the other things you can do for flowers, it doesn't just have to be flowers. Alright, like for instance, this is radish flower. Now I planted these radishes on purpose so that I would have flowers, and then from the flowers come the seed pods. Now these seed pods are getting a little bit long in the tooth, starting to turn a little brown and a little bit yellow, and those will be actual seeds. But if you look over here, you can see the smaller seed pods, and those can be harvested to eat. You can put them in salads, you can put them in stir fries and all kinds of things. So that's another good source of flowers, is radishes. And if you plant radishes this time of year, you probably won't get good radishes, but you will get flowers and the seed pods. Another one is allowing other things to go to seed. All right, if you look right here, you can see I have lettuce that is going to seed, and it is my intention to harvest a bunch of this seed and hopefully save it so that I'll have seed for next year without having to buy any. Same thing happens with the dill. It flowers, creates seed. And dill seed is not only great for self-sowing or for resowing, but it's also great as a spice. Another great flowering vegetable you can grow is broccoli. If you grow it this time of year, it will flower out very quickly. Really hard to get heads at this time of year. But if you look over here at this one, you'll see that I have lots and lots of leaves, and we harvest those leaves for salads, which are really nice to have. All right. And then, of course, we have our chives. Now you can see the chive flowers have actually started to die back. But those chive flowers are another big draw for pollinators. And the other benefit is that they actually will sow some seed, or you can save some seed. So those are really nice flowers as well. All right. And then if you add to that production crops, like that's my holy basil, which has continued to try and flower out, even though I've been trying to cut it back and keep it from happening. And basil flowers are one of the better pollinator attractors. Normally speaking, like I said, they'd be covered in bees right now. The pollinators just love them. And then along with that, you've got the flowers that you have on your various vegetables. Like you can see here, I've got peas that are flowering. Got cucumbers that are flowering. I have my amaranth that's putting out flowers. And of course you got your squash flowers that are down in there. And the flowers on my watermelon and on my cantaloupe. Lots and lots of flowers. There's a ton of them over here as well on my cucumbers. So that's how I plant flowers in the garden. The primary ones that I intentionally put in the garden, or very near the garden, are marigolds, nasturtiums, and zinnias. All of them are very big draws, and one of the benefits of marigolds, for example, is it helps to keep the aphids off of your plants. Things like oregano and such, while the flowers are attractive to certain bees and so on, it's really primarily a crop that is grown to, it's aromatic, and hopefully will drive away bad bugs, or at least camouflage the smell of the flowers and plants that I'm actually trying to grow. Alright, so that's what I do for flowers in my garden. Now, along with what I actually grow in the garden, we also grow our butterfly garden here. Now, our butterfly garden has a ton of different types of flowers, all of them hopefully pollinator attractors, along with butterfly attractors and feeders. So this batch of flowers here, as well as flowers throughout my backyard, helps to draw in the pollinators and keep them active in my yard, along with not using any sort of pesticide or anything that might damage the pollinators that I want in the yard, butterflies, bees, and so on. We also try and grow a lot of flowers in our yard to hopefully draw in the pollinators. And you can see that right behind me is my garden. I mean, literally the butterfly garden is about 5 feet away from the garden itself. Alright, so that's how I grow flowers in my garden. And some of the flowers I actually interplant with my vegetables, and some of the reasons why. So thanks for stopping by. Do me a favor, give me a like and subscribe. Let me know what you think, but most importantly, grow something, including some flowers in your garden. Alright, thanks once again. You all take care and come back and see me.